Hey guys, how you going? My name is Dom and welcome to your 9th Dom7 tutorial. So today I want to take you guys through interacting with CSS using Dom7. So basically we're going to be looking at both getting and setting CSS properties and values using the CSS method part of Dom7. So here we have a blue box on the page. Inside the HTML it looks like this. So we have a div with an ID of box, and that is that blue box from earlier. And inside the CSS, we're targeting the ID of box and giving it some styles. So a width of 150, a height of 150, and also a background color of blue. Alright, so let's use Dom7 to actually get and set some CSS properties and values. Okay, so down here, inside the JavaScript, let's just start by actually getting a CSS value. Okay, so down here, we're going to put a comment for CSS and then getting a value. Okay, so let's just first define a new constant which will hold the actual value for a property. Okay, so let's say const and call this constant v, short for value. This will be equal to the Dom7 CSS method return values. So let's just first select the ID of box using Dom7, just like that. Okay, then we're going to say .css. So that method right there is used to both get and set CSS properties. To actually get a property value, we just pass in here the property name as a single argument. Okay, so let's put width as an example. Alright, so now we have the v constant, which is equal to the CSS width value for this box. Okay, so if I was to now console.log v, we should see 150px inside the console window. So I can save this and refresh the browser, and we get 150px right there. Okay, so we can see it gives you the string version, including the actual units, as the return value. Okay, so you can even get CSS values that have not been set inside your actual CSS up top. For example, if we were to say get the padding value of this box, which hasn't been set up inside here, if I refresh now, we get 0px. So it just gives you, I believe, the default value of the actual styles. So 0 for this box right here. Okay, so what about actually setting a CSS value? So let's just put a new comment for CSS and then setting a value. So to set a single value, it's quite straightforward. It's basically the same thing as getting a value, but you're just passing in a second argument. Okay, so for example, let's actually firstly just modify the width of this box. Okay, so down here, let's just once again select the box using Dom7, so an ID of box right there. I'm going to call the CSS method once more, this time giving it two arguments. The first one being the property name, so let's modify the width. We'll put width inside there. Alright. The second argument will be the value. So for example, we can say width, and then we can say something like 200px. Okay, so now if I was to save this and then refresh the browser, we can see here that the box has increased in width. Maybe I'll do something like 400px for a better effect. So I've made it 400 right there. If I was to save this and refresh, we can see clearly now that the box has increased in width. Okay, so that's just setting an inline style, just like that. All right. So to actually, set a new value, we can simply just say something like, I don't know, border. We can say border of 5px solid and then red. So that's setting a new CSS value. I can save this and refresh the browser. Now we get a red border around the box. So quite straightforward right there. Dom7 also allows you to actually set multiple CSS properties at once, similar to the attributes and properties syntax. So down here, we can just say CSS, we say setting multiple values. Okay, so let's once again select the ID of box. I'm going to call the CSS method once more, this time passing in an object as a single argument. So put an object inside here, just like that. And now we can actually put down some CSS property names and values. Okay, so for example, if we were to set, let's just say the height of this box, we can say this. We can say height, and then put inside here, we can say something like 300px. Okay, and we can also set something else, which I'm trying to think of right now. What can we set on this box? Let's just say we set a margin left. Okay, so let's go down here, and this time for the margin left property, we have two options. We can write it like this as camel case, so margin, then a capital L, then left, or we can write it like this. So any CSS values that have a CSS properties that have a hyphen between them, you can do it like this, or you can do it as camel case. So you have two options right there. I'm going to do it like this, having it like this. I think it's a bit clearer like this. So we say margin left, and then we can say, for example, 100px inside a string. Okay, so here we're setting multiple CSS values, a height of 300px and a margin left of 100px. So now I can save this and then refresh the browser, and as expected, we get the actual result. So we can see here we have the inline styles, the border, the height, and also the margin left. Okay, so that right there is how you can interact and use CSS with the Dom7 library. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.